Hi, Steve Smith here, your CAD Tech guru. Today I'm going to be talking about some real basics getting started AutoCAD techniques, and I'm going to focus on the line command and a few different ways that you can go about drawing lines and just working strictly using the line command. And hopefully that will give you a little bit of insight on some of the different ways. There's numerous different ways that you can use the line command. So we're just going to dabble in a few of them to get started with. So here I have a blank drawing, and what we're going to do for the line command to initiate the line command is the command is line. So you could type in Line and then enter, and that will start your line command. Now it says, if you see here on the bottom, it gives you what it's asking for, line, specify your first point. So you can use the left click on your mouse button to select the first point, and you're drawing a line. And you can see that it starts to kind of a free line going on here. You can put it anywhere you want. And in the bottom here, you can see it's asking for the next point. So you could take that and left click anywhere on your screen and it will draw that line. Now from this point, you can continue selecting other points with your left mouse button in order to continue drawing lines. And then, you can use your O snaps to select points also. We'll talk about O snaps in a future video. And then when you're done drawing your lines, you enter and it completes that command. Okay, so while you're drawing a line, the common alias for the line command is L, so you can type L, enter, and then you can pick your first point and go somewhere, pick another point, go somewhere else, pick another point, another point. If you wanted to close this, instead of using an O snap, you could just type C, enter, and it'll close that as a closed box. Go back to your first point that you drew. So that's one way to draw a line. Also, I'm going to type L, enter, and pick the first point. Now, when you're drawing a line, if you hit F8 on the keyboard, it activates ortho mode. And you can see ortho will keep your line moving in a straight horizontal or vertical direction, depending on how your O snaps are set. Right now, our O snaps are standard set to 0 by default. So it's kind of like being on a drafting table with your horizontal, bar. So then you can keep lines straight by picking your points, close, like that. Okay, so one way that we're going to practice with this is I've put together a simple elevation of a little simple house. So we're going to draw this and we're going to try to use just line commands and use some different techniques on how to draw lines and place points where you want them to be. So for this, let's start out by drawing this wall right here that is square. As you can see, it's 10 feet tall and it's 10 feet wide. So we're going to start at the absolute 0 coordinates in AutoCAD and draw this box. So to specify the point, it's an absolute location. I'm going to draw a line, L, enter. And then to specify that point, you have to specify X and Y coordinates. We're leaving Z out of it. We're drawing 2D right now, so all we're going to talk about are X and Y coordinates. This is using a standard Cartesian coordinate system. So the first point, we're going to start at 0 on the X. So we type 0, comma, and then 0 on the Y. Enter. And that starts a line at 0, 0. Okay. Now, the next point, we want the wall to be 10 feet wide. So we want to go straight over in this direction to the next corner, the bottom right corner of the wall, and that is going to be 10 feet on the X and 0 on the Y. So we can type in the absolute coordinate 10 feet, comma, 0, and that puts it at that point. So in sticking with absolute coordinates, the next one is going to be above this one 10 feet. So this specific coordinate is going to be 10 feet on the X, comma, 10 feet on the Y. That puts it there. So continuing on around, we're coming back here. That's going to be, this corner is going to be at 0 on the X, comma, 10 feet on the Y. So that places that point. Now coming back to the beginning is back at 0, 0. So we can type in the absolute coordinate 0, comma, 0. And then that completes the wall. And then we enter to complete the line command. So there's your first wall. Now continuing on with this, let's draw this other wall over here. And as you can see, that is 20 feet across and 10 feet high. Here's the 10 foot, here's the 20 foot. Okay. So instead of just using an absolute coordinate to start this line, let's use the line command, L, enter, and I'm going to use an O snap to pick the end point of this line so that we can start from there. There we go. So now this wall is going to be 20 feet wide. Instead of using an absolute coordinates, which I could, which would be 30 feet on the X and 0 on the Y, but this time let's activate the ortho mode, which is F8. So now we're going straight in this direction. And when you're headed in that direction, you can just tell it how far you want to go. So 20 feet, enter, and it shoots off that direction 20 feet. And let's do the same thing on the Y. We want to go up 10 feet from relative to where the line is starting at. So 10 feet, enter. And then instead of typing something in here, we can just use a endpoint O snap and go back to that point, and then enter, complete that command. So now you've got your two walls laid out the way you want them. Okay, now going back here, this is representing a doorway or an opening. And as you can see, it's 3'6" over. It's a 3-foot wide door or opening, and it's 6'8" tall. So in order to draw this, let's start using an absolute coordinates. So I'm going to use the L, enter. And then the absolute coordinates is going to be 3'6" on the X. So I'm going to type 3'6", comma, 0 on the Y. And that starts us at this point. So there's a number of ways you could draw this next point. We could just go up this way and say 6'8" and send it in that direction. Let's do that. 6'8", enter. So see, now I'm there. Now at this point I could enter and undo that if I made a mistake or something like that. So let's do it another way. We could say from this particular point where we're coming from, relative to this point, if you type the at sign, at, then we're no longer starting our origin from the 0, 0 mark like we've done previously. So now our X and Y coordinates are going to be relative to our starting point where we're at right here. And so we can say at 0 on the X, comma, 6'8", and that should send us straight up 6'8". So there's another way to do it, relative to a starting point rather than relative to absolute 0. Okay, so in this way, let's head across 3 feet for the opening, and then we can come back down. You could use a perpendicular snap, undo, you enter. We could come back down 6'8". That puts it in there. You enter to undo. And another way would be to say at 0 on the X, comma, minus 6'8". That brings it down. All of those achieve the same thing. And then I'm going to hit enter to exit out of that command. Okay, now let's draw one of these openings, assuming they're like windows or something. As you can see, they're 3 feet wide. and they are 4 feet tall. Now they are going to line up with the door opening, so this is going to be at 6'8" at the top of it. So let's just use a absolute coordinates and start at this top corner of this window right here. You can see this is going to be 14 feet on the X, and it's going to be 6'8" on the Y to this point right here. So we draw a line, L, enter, and then our absolute coordinates is 14 feet on the X, comma, 6'8" on the Y, enter. So that puts us at that starting point. Now I'm going to use ortho to just head this direction 3 feet. Then I'm going to head down 4 feet. Then I'm going to head in this direction 3 feet. And then I'm going to use C, enter, to close the window. So this puts this window at the exact specific location. Now keep in mind there's a lot of different ways you can draw this, but right now we are focusing specifically on drawing all of this using just the line command. Okay, so let's draw the other window now. So as you can see here, it's 23 feet this direction and 6 feet 8 up to that location. Let's use an absolute coordinate. Or I tell you what, instead of using an absolute, let's use a, well, yeah, we'll just use the absolute coordinate. Line, and we'll just say 23 feet, comma, 6'8". That puts us in that top left corner. We'll just go this direction 3 feet, or I'm going to just type in 36 for 36 inches. Then down 4 feet to the left, 36 inches, and then C, enter, closes it. So there's both walls, your doorway, and 2 windows. Now, the next thing we want to start drawing is this roof right here. As you can see, there's a 1-foot overhang on the roof, and then this is a 12 and 12 pitch. So essentially that's a 45-degree angle. And so from this point, we're going to rise 6 feet and run 6 feet this direction. So we can draw a line, enter, starting from this point. Let's go this direction 12 inches. So that puts us there. Now let's go relative again. So from that point where I'm starting from, I'm going to at 6 feet on the X, comma, 6 feet on the Y. So that puts us to there. Now relative from where I'm at here, it's going to be at 6 feet on the X, comma, minus 6 feet on the Y. So that puts that there. Then I'm going to hit enter to complete that line. Now we have the same situation going on this side, a 12-inch overhang, a foot, and then we're going to come up 6 feet and over 6 feet. So L, enter, starting from this point right here. I'm just going to go that direction, 12 inches, and then at, we're going to go negative or minus 6 feet on the X, comma, 6 feet on the Y. And that puts us there. And then to finish this off, we can just come across here and hit that endpoint, enter to complete the line command. So that is several different ways. Now keep in mind there are other ways to draw. These are some really basic ideas, and this also isn't necessarily the best the best technique to use to draw this. There you could certainly incorporate some other commands in that you might be able to draw that a little bit faster, but this is focusing just on the lines and different techniques on different ways of drawing lines. So I hope this was helpful. Be sure to like my page and subscribe for regular updates, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.